Right now there's an app running on your phone right now. That's why you should watch this video. It is tracking you, and I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I promise you this is %% real, and it happens in two ways. The first one is called triangulation and the second one is called tracking. In this video I want to share with you how both of these work so that you can protect yourself from them and stay safe online. So let me explain what tracking is first. Basically, tracking means that some apps or websites collect your data without telling you. They might track your location, your browsing history, your search history, and all of this is usually done for advertising purposes. These companies sell your data to advertisers so they can show you relevant ads based on your interests. Now, normally, you would assume that this is not happening when you are offline, right? You would assume that when you do not have an internet connection, these companies cannot track you. But guess what? They can still track you even when you are offline. How? Well, through triangulation. Triangulation is a method used to determine the location of a mobile device using at least 3 cell towers or Wi-Fi access points. Cell towers and Wi-Fi access points are like street lamps. They are all over the city and they have unique identifiers, so when you connect to a cell tower or a Wi-Fi network, your phone sends a signal to that tower or network, and the tower or network sends a signal back to your phone. By measuring the time it takes for the signals to go back and forth, your phone can calculate the distance between itself and that tower or network, and by doing this with at least 3 towers or networks, they can pinpoint your exact location. It is actually quite remarkable how accurate this method is. For example, Facebook uses a technique called cell ID to determine your location within 10 meters of accuracy, and Google Maps uses something called assisted GPS, which uses cell tower triangulation in areas where GPS signals are weak or unavailable. So if you're wondering how cell tower triangulation works, here's a step-by-step explanation. First, your phone connects to one or more cell towers and also one or more Wi-Fi access points. Then your phone receives signals from these towers and access points and measures the time it takes for each signal to arrive. Next, your phone calculates the distance to each tower and access point based on the speed of the signal. Finally, your phone uses this information to estimate its location relative to the towers and access points. This is how your phone determines your location when you are offline. But what about when you are online? How is tracking different when you have an internet connection? Well, when you are online, your phone is not only sending signals to cell towers and Wi-Fi access points, but it is also sending signals to websites and apps that you use. These signals contain information about your device and your connection, such as your IP address, your device ID, your browser type and version, and your operating system. By collecting this information, companies can track you across websites and apps. This is how you can see personalized ads based on your interests. Companies can also use this information to build a profile of you and sell it to data brokers who can then use it for any purpose they want. So how can you protect yourself from tracking when you are online? There are 3 main methods to do this. The first one is to use a virtual private network or VPN. A VPN is a service that encrypts your internet connection and hides your IP address and device ID. By using a VPN, you can browse the web anonymously and prevent companies from tracking you across websites and apps. Another way to prevent tracking is to use a tracker blocker. A tracker blocker is a tool that detects and blocks trackers that websites and apps use to collect your data. Some examples of tracker blockers are Ghostery and Disconnect Me. A third way to prevent tracking is to clear your cookies and cache regularly. Cookies and cache are small files that store information about your browsing history and preferences on your device. By clearing them regularly, you can prevent companies from using them to track you. Now let's talk about tracking. Tracking is another method used to collect your data, and it works differently from tracking. Tracking is basically the process of following someone's movements and recording their activities. This can be done through various means such as CCTV cameras, GPS devices, RFID tags, and even social media. In the case of your mobile device, tracking is often done through GPS, and it works like this. When you use a map app such as Google Maps, you give the app permission to access your GPS location. The app then uses this location data to provide you with directions and other map-related information. However, the app may also share this data with third parties such as advertisers or data brokers who can use it to track your movements and activities. For example, let's say you use a ride-hailing app such as Uber. When you request a ride, you allow the app to access your GPS location so that the driver can pick you up. The app then tracks your movements as the driver drives you to your destination. Now what happens to this location data after the ride is over? Well, it depends on the app and your privacy settings. Some apps such as Uber allow you to delete your location history at any time, while others such as Lyft keep your history unless you opt out. However, even if you opt out of sharing your location data with these apps, they may still share it with third parties such as law enforcement agencies if required by law, or if they believe that you have violated their terms of service. This is where it gets interesting, because if you have ever traveled in a taxi or an Uber, chances are you have been tracked without realizing it. Let me explain. When you travel in a taxi or an Uber, you are usually talking about your personal business, such as your home address, your workplace, your family members, and so on. This information could be useful for someone who wants to stalk you or steal your identity, and guess what? A lot of taxis and Ubers are equipped with CCTV cameras that record everything you say and do inside the vehicle. These recordings can be accessed by the driver and the company at any time, and even if you ask the driver to delete the footage, there is no guarantee that he or she will do it. For example, in 2016, a woman in China took a taxi and asked the driver to delete the footage after she realized that the driver was recording her conversation. However, when she checked her credit card statement, she saw that the taxi company had charged her for a premium service, which supposedly included a recorded conversation. When she asked for an explanation, the company said that the footage was necessary for quality control purposes and that she had agreed to it by using the service. This is just one example of how taxis and Ubers can track you without your knowledge or consent. And it gets even worse when you consider that these companies have access to your location data even when you are not using their services. For example, if you have used an app such as Uber, Lyft, or DoorDash in the past, these companies can still track your location through your device ID and IP address. They can also track your movements by monitoring your social media posts and checking your public records. All this information can be used to create a detailed profile of you and your habits. This profile can then be sold to data brokers and advertisers who can use it to target you with ads or even stalk you. This is why it is important to be aware of how tracking works and how to protect yourself from it. You can start by checking your privacy settings on all your apps and websites and make sure you opt out of any data collection or sharing whenever possible. You can also use a VPN to encrypt your internet connection and hide your IP address and device ID. And finally, you can use a tracker blocker to prevent websites and apps from using trackers to collect your data. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been tracked or stopped using your mobile? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.